This is Funny Minds, and I'm your host, Lynn B., and this is my co-host.
Edward Best, Mr. John Bukowski.
Yes, today we have Dr. John Bukowski on our
John
show.
Bukowski.
Yes, doctor.
Just don't call me late for supper.
You're a veterinarian. You're health researcher. You've written a novel. It's a thriller, and it's called Project Suicide, which we're going to get into. And you have so many different hobbies that we're going to get into. You're a very eclectic man.
You're a man just like me, John.
Yeah, I'd like to think among fiction authors, I may be the most overeducated in the country.
You're probably right.
So tell us why did you, a veterinarian, a health researcher, what brought you into writing this book?
Actually, I have two books.
Okay.
The one that just came out is called Checkout Time. That's another thriller. We can talk about that in a minute.
Ooh.
Okay. All right, that's good.
But no, my background is unusual for fiction writers. I was pretty focused on science when I was first going to school. I have to pet my dog here because he's lonely.
Okay.
I believe me, I know. I'm with you.
Yeah, so I was working toward a veterinary degree, a bachelor's in science. I got a veterinary degree. And I practiced in Southeast Michigan or Detroit area for about 7 years. And there was something about having to do all those euthanasias and make life and death decisions all the time that made me want to switch. And
Okay.
so I went and got a master's and a PhD in public health epidemiology, which, thanks to COVID, a lot of people now know means it's a disease detective, not a skin doctor.
Okay.
Or a bug doctor.
We'll get that clarified right off the
Oh,
bat.
that's great.
So I did that for about 15 years, and I noticed over my career, I was writing more and researching less. Both my people I work for, either in government or industry, so I had a gift for writing, and I enjoyed it. I grew up reading a lot of books, a lot of fiction books. My parents really pushed reading, and spent many afternoon in the summer in Detroit in the library where it was air conditioned reading.
Okay.
And those were some of my favorite electives in college were things like history and English. So I said, well, why not leave the corporate grind and go into freelance medical writing, technical writing. And so I did that. I worked with my wife's company. She's a medical editor. And
Oh, interesting.
Wow.
yeah, did that until she's also a veterinarian, also left practice. And I did that, was going well until about 2008, 2009, when the Great Recession hit.
Right. Yes.
A lot of clients for freelancers dried up. So I had the gift of time, and I always wanted to write a novel. And I mean, what writer doesn't want to write the great American novel? I mean, we all do.
Honestly, if it's something that you really desire to do, you really want to do it, like, no holds barred.
You just do it.
Let it all out.
I wrote it. It's still on my computer somewhere. It's what Stephen King called a trunk novel, but it got me hooked. So even when business picked up, I kept writing short stories and working on other books. And I started doing that full time about 2016, 2017. And in 2022, my first one, Project Suicide, and I'll show the cover for that one.
Wow.
By Pathfinder Press out of Indiana. And we went from there. So I'm enjoying it.
So what was the book about? And how did you get the idea?
Project Suicide. I'll tell you what they call the log line or elevator pitch, what you say if Steven Spielberg is in the elevator with you.
Okay.
You say it's the story of how a cure for Alzheimer's is perverted into an assassination drug. Now high-profile politicians are killing themselves, and only a drunken genius can save the country.
Wow.
And what were you smoking when you wrote this book?
I got the idea visiting my father-in-law. He passed away a few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
He had dementia, not Alzheimer's, but a form of dementia.
Okay.
And I would visit him every week. And I thought, it's very sad to see a man who was a brilliant engineer for Ford Motor Company for 30 years get to he didn't know what kind of day it was.
Yeah.
He couldn't tell day from evening by just looking outside, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I thought, I know they're working on a cure for it. And this is big for fiction writers, is the what if.
Right.
What if your police chief is afraid of the water and a killer shark is terrorizing the community? You've got
oh, that's my favorite movie ever.
The dinosaur, you got Jurassic Park. So what if there was a cure, but it had side effects? Now, side effects with COVID, side effects have been a big thing in people's minds.
Right.
And certainly Alzheimer's disease and other forms of dementia are on the public mind. I said, okay, what if it had a side effect? What could the side effect be? And out of the blue, it came to me that how about the side effect of the drug is it makes people commit suicide. It links next to a gene for self-preservation, which I made up. And and it turns that gene off so that as people are getting their sense of self back, they also get a sense of self-loathing, and they can decide. But then the big what if was, what if you gave it to somebody who didn't have dementia? Well, they would commit suicide because it would still link to the gene. And I thought, wow, that's an assassin's dream. You're not involved at all. They kill themselves.
Exactly.
And that's how I came up with the idea.
And then you found the drunk as the hero.
Right. I had to have a hero who was brilliant. But
was he down at McFinney's bar?
Well, actually, the book starts off, he is being arraigned on a drunk and disorderly charge in night court in Cleveland, Ohio, and a big shot from Homeland Security bails him out because they need him because this Project Suicide that was this assassination drug. He was one of the lead investigators on it, and they need him to find the cure and that kind of thing. So
I'll tell you what,
that's interesting.
Honestly, it's fantastic, and I'm shocked that there's no one biting your tail to make it
a movie out of it.
Or a series, because I think it would be better as a series. I think 6 parts or something like that to develop how you get there.
If Steven Spielberg or somebody is out there, I work for cheaper than James Patterson.
Have you tried to sell the rights to the book to make it a movie or something?
I would love to do that, but all you can do is get it out there as much as you can. If you guys have an in with any Hollywood producers or screenwriters,
well, obviously we're going to be peddling it to our listeners, and encourage everybody to not only listen to the episode but find you and find this and
buy the book, and
because it's all a numbers game.
It's the easiest book to get a hold of because it's through Ingram. It's on all the major Barnes and Noble, those things. But if you want it on Amazon, you just type in projectsuicidenovel.com, all one word.
And I'm going to repeat that: projectsuicide.com.
All
one word.
Wait, there's something else.
Novel.com.
Wait, what was it?
Suicidenovel.com.
projectsuicidenovel.com.
And that will take you directly to the book.
Okay. All right.
It's available.
Yes, because we want people to get out there and buy it, check it out, and I think more so these days, people are looking for something riveting to listen to. They're doing a lot of audiobooks these days and everything else that a good fiction like this would be perfect.
Well, do you belong to LinkedIn?
That's how you found them.
What was the
no, he's on Apple. Do you belong to LinkedIn?
LinkedIn, yeah.
Okay, because there's if you belong to the TV and entertainment and all those groups, you can make a lot of good friends. Because I wrote a book myself too, and I am gonna put something together.
It's porn.
No, it's not.
I'm joking.
But you have to put something together to go out to all of these guys to see if they like the idea, if
okay,
if they could use it. But I like the whole idea of your book.
I mean, super incredible. I'm not a big sci-fi guy. I was old school 80s, original Star Wars, all the early series,
Superman,
in the 70s and stuff like that. And then as sci-fi grew and fiction grew, there was so much out there, and it just overwhelmed me. But what your idea and your concept and your story is super, super, super cool.
Yeah,
and I could see it as like a 6 or 7 part series.
It's kind of techno thriller, kind of like Michael Crichton or Robin Cook, and medical background as well. And it's not too technical. I like to tell people that don't be afraid of the science behind it, because the science is basically just the hook. We give enough truth so that when I slip you the BS, you're still going to follow it. You're going to believe it. It's like you have to give people just enough truth so that they buy into the premise, and then you got it. And
exactly.
That's the science behind it. The story is the chase, the interactions between Deacon Creel, my flawed hero, and Amy Robbins, his aide de camp, and all the other people involved in the Project Suicide bit.
Well, now your new book, is that a sequel or it's totally?
No, it's not a sequel. It's different. I'll put it up here. It's called Checkout Time.
Oh yeah. But I like that cover just from the visual.
I do too. It's a shadowy figure.
I mean, it's super cool.
With fire behind him. And the reason is because a extortion bomber known mysteriously by the pseudonym Conrad Hilton is trying to make a killing from a group of hotel owners. And he's not above killing to make his point.
No
a beautiful
FBI again, 7-part series. This is so good.
Well,
you're putting it down on paper, but it is so good. If you really put your mind behind it, you could project it to the screen, no problem.
It's really.
I mean, the writing.
I want to hear more about it.
Please.
Yeah. So a beautiful FBI agent and a handsome government researcher pursue him until Conrad turns the tables and the hunters become the hunted.
Oh, yeah.
So we've got a little bit of that. And the way I came up with the idea for this, there's a couple of things. About probably back in my research career, I was on a business trip, and I was on the 4th floor of a hotel, and I looked up at the ceiling, and there was a trap door. I'm sure it was to do maintenance on the duct work, on the electric. I thought, you could put something up there. Well, what if? What could you put up there? Well, if you put up like espionage, microfilm secrets, well, then you'd have a spy thriller. If you put up mob money and some guy stumbled upon it. It fell down at his feet. Then you'd have a crime thriller, the mob chasing somebody.
Or if they hid drugs in it's a cartel story, you know.
For me, my go-to thing was to put a bomb up there.
Hey, listen, why not?
And one of the
if it goes wrong really quick.
One of the reasons is that I grew up a bit of a pyromaniac. Fireworks. I made my own gunpowder, things like that.
Oh wow!
I'm gonna hire you as my pyro guy for my shows, my concerts.
Yeah, I had the hearing loss to prove it, but
oh no!
But so that's where I came up with putting a bomb up there. Well, what's the point of putting a bomb up there? Well, there was a movie that I loved in the 70s, a thriller called Roller Coaster. Not many people.
Yes.
Yes. I don't remember.
Yes, I remember that.
George Siegel and stuff. Yeah, it's a great, it's a fast-paced thriller. And there's a shadowy figure who basically is extorting amusement parks.
He would put bombs on the roller coaster.
Right, he put bombs.
Okay. I don't remember.
So that was, for me, there was a connection. Okay, instead of entertainment, we'll make it hotels. And that's how that one came together.
There was a whodunit.
So basically, you're a psycho,
right?
Who's able to?
Good writer.
No, you have
honestly.
He's got a very creative mind,
and I love it. And I know that movie, and I love that movie.
Yeah, and it was
so weird that you mentioned it because
it was fun doing research. Actually, I'm going to talk about it on I forget the name of it, Real Something podcast. Probably I'm going to do the interview in about a week, but we're going to talk about specifically last year we talked about the movie 3 Days of the Condor. This year we're going to talk about
that was a good movie.
Yeah,
that I remember.
So I actually had a lot of fun doing the research for Checkout Time because with a guy like me, a pyro, I get to look up how you make napalm at home, how you make plastic explosive, thermite. And I often wondered if the FBI has been watching my search.
Probably.
Probably. Okay. You got to keep a track.
He hasn't done anything, but we're on him.
Yeah, Big Brother's watching you.
Actually, I actually had another fun part of the research was actually involve the FBI. The action takes place primarily between Southern Ohio and Eastern Tennessee. And that's an area I know real well, right? What you know, because we have a place in near Knoxville and we have another place in Dayton, Ohio. So I drive that corridor a lot, up down I-75.
Yep.
And I knew that there would be 2 FBI field offices. For those of you who don't know, the FBI field office is kind of like the regional headquarters. They have field offices in not every state, but many states. And then they have little tiny things that they call, what the hell do they call them?
They're almost like substations.
Yeah, they're like that. And resident agencies, which are scattered.
Yeah, like they could all go in there if they need to and do whatever they need to do.
Their work.
Yep.
And so I figured, I could write about these field offices, Knoxville and Cincinnati. We've all seen Silence of the Lambs and TV.
Oh God, yeah.
And so you kind of get an idea what the reader already kind of knows or thinks they know what the FBI looks like, what inside the government building looks like. And you can get on with that. But I thought it'd be a nice touch if I could actually see inside. Contacted both the PR people for both field offices. And the Cincinnati people said, I asked, can I get a tour? And Cincinnati said no. The special agent in charge decides whether or not they allow that. And the special agent in charge. And by the way, they're all special agents. It's not agents and special agents. They're all special agents.
Yeah.
Runs the field office is the special agent in charge. Special agent in charge said no. So I contacted Knoxville and they said, sure, when do you want to do it?
And, bring an acoustic.
Right. So 2018, I think it was, or was it 17? 2018, I think. in the summer, I had a 1-hour tour of the Knoxville FBI field office. I met the special agent in charge, very nice woman. I asked a lot of questions from the PR people, talked to the armorer, saw where prisoners are brought in for interrogation, saw the big rooms with all the TV screens when there's a breaking story that they're
oh wow,
in crisis mode, where they go and see all the different screens
Sure.
from all the different news agencies and stuff. And so that was a lot of fun. And I put bits of that into checkout time. So if somebody sees something, they say, I didn't know that about FBI field office, it's probably true.
wow.
Well, that's super cool.
Really interesting.
And it's not something that people typically take advantage of. You know, even though you can do it,
Right.
Even like ride-alongs with deputies,
Exactly.
whether they're FBI or whatever. Like you know, being down here in Tampa, I have a lot of my good friends who are deputies, and have been for many years. And I would always joke like, "Hey, I'm going to do a ride-along with you," because I wanted to bust their balls, you know. And they were like, "Well, it doesn't work that way. You know, you have to put in, and then they have to choose you to do it, and then you have to go with who they, you know." But just to see, you know, a day in the life of what they deal with in FBI is a whole different ballgame, and even just to see their barracks and you know, or their habitat there is super phenomenal.
Well, that's the thing. You know, I do a workshop on doing research in fiction writing. I'm going to be doing it at the Imaginarian conference in Louisville in July.
Oh, good.
No, it's Louisville.
Louisville. And I tell people, you know, since the advent of Google and Wikipedia and the internet, research has become a whole lot easier. You don't have to actually
yeah.
You can see the physical,
for the most part.
You can see what businesses are around it, the traffic patterns, everything online. So, you know, you can it's really made the fiction writers world a lot easier. But old school can still be very good. You know, talking to a librarian and getting references, doing a ride along, visiting an FBI office, things like that can add a nice little touch of flavor, which other fiction writers maybe don't have.
Yeah, I mean, it's like on the fringe of what, you know, like method acting. Method acting, where they you know, you want to be a garbage man, you go in the garbage truck for a day and see what they do. You know, it's like a day in the life, so that you can have a better understanding and vision of what they really truly see and deal with.
Right.
No matter what the profession is.
That's why they always say, and it's an adage, it's an old chestnut, write what you know. You know, if you're a lawyer and you write courtroom dramas, it's going to have an authenticity that a plumber writing it probably can't match.
Right, exactly.
A plumber can't do it, but he's going to have to do a lot of research.
Right.
That's why Robin Cook, who was a physician, Michael Crichton, physician, wrote medical thrillers or technical thrillers. They already have a lot of the research done for them. So doing Project Suicide was right in my wheelhouse. I mean, I had to look up the genetics, but I knew where to look. I knew how to play with it, how to fudge things so it sounds believable, even where it's not. And I tell people, I even have a foreword in the book, you know, some of it's real science, some of it's BS. I'll let you decide, you know. And
now, are you? This is your newest book, okay? Are you starting? Are the wheels turning for you for a third novel?
Well, I'm actually writing a sequel to Project Suicide. I'm about 2/3.
There we go.
Okay.
For a first draft of that, I have an idea for a sequel for Checkout Time.
Okay.
And I've got some other books that I'm peddling to publishers and agents and things like that. One is more of a Lifetime kind of movie kind of thing. It's not really a thriller at all. Experimenting with that, and so yeah, I'm always working on something, and that's the thing. Even when you've finished the draft,
the creative juices are there.
Right. When you say you've written a book and it took you 6 months to do a first draft, which is a reasonable amount of time.
Right.
4 months to a year in that area. So you don't really start revising it right away because it's too fresh. It's too in your head. You let it sit, and then you'll go back and look at it with new eyes, and you'll probably do 5 or 6 times. So you've got a lot of downtime. So there's short stories get written, other books get worked on. You're revising something for another book.
It really plays true to not only writing books, but writing anything. Like when I would write comedy, I would come up with ideas and write them down at 3 o'clock in the morning, and then wake up the next day and read them and be like, what was I thinking? Like, it wasn't funny. So you revisit it,
right,
and it doesn't have the same impact as you thought it had. And,
right.
And I'm sure that's the same thing when you're writing a novel or, a fiction novel. You have ideas, you have a direction, you have concepts and a story per se, and then you get into something and you go back and you go, oh, what the fuck was I thinking?
Or you pick and
That's
choose.
not,
I
that's not really.
I have people ask me, do I need to hire an editor, for example? Say somebody's going to sell. Do I need to hire an editor? I go, absolutely, because even if you think you're a good editor or good at revising your own stuff, you can never see it the way the reader sees it.
Exactly. I had an editor do my book too, the whole 9 yards.
If you take time off to let your eyes rest from it, then somewhat, but you're still never going to see it the way the reader does, because the story is in your head and you're filling gaps and things like that the reader doesn't necessarily do. So
and grammatically they're making a lot of changes, or they're asking you, what are you trying to get across here? And you go back and forth, and it's.
I have a tendency to do too many similes, and my editor says most of them are pretty good. They're original. He goes, but you don't need this many.
Right.
So it's things like that, saying, this gets to be a bit much it gets repetitive. This slows the narrative and isn't really needed.
It's like having a record producer. Like you're writing an album and you have someone in there trying to cut and paste and make sense of everything you're trying to parlay to make sense to the public, and they see things that you don't see.
Absolutely.
And that's the thing is, when you're writing, is you have people like editors that see things that you don't see, or expect things you don't write, or whatever.
Or they're giving you advice on different
constructive
paragraphs.
Criticism on how to maybe drag this in this direction, because we think this would be more of a hot button and a seller. I mean, it depends on what you're writing on, obviously. But
you do need it. You do need anybody who.
It's editors. I always say people's relationship with their editor is kind of like a relationship with a physical therapist.
Yes. No, you're right. You're right.
Don't bend my elbow back.
Yeah. You love their help, but you hate them for the pain they're putting you through by saying,
but it's good for you.
The girl I had was wonderful. She was absolutely wonderful. And unfortunately, I want to do a series of children's books now, and she doesn't handle that, but she gave me another name to use. But I don't know where I would be without her. I mean, she was just so incredible.
You need coaching in that realm. I mean, no one's a natural writer, publisher. It's like you just have these urges, these ideas, and this passion to get it out, and then you have people that are truly in place to help steer you in the direction you want to go.
Really,
and you have to weed out who is seriously in that direction that can do this, and who is trying to drag me down in the gutter and take my money. like records, like when you make records or whatever you do creatively, you have to always be careful of who you align yourself with.
Right.
And are they on your side truly, or are they
Just there for the money?
And people will fall for that because it's a big expense.
Yes.
Yeah.
You get a good editor, say for a 300-page novel, that's
Right.
like $4,000 to have them edit your book. Well, people will say, well, I got somebody who says they'll do it for $350. Well, they're not going to do a good job.
No.
And
cheap isn't always good, and good isn't always cheap.
Well, in the realm of editing books and in that business, people have already made their bones. They've already made their name. So anybody who is anything in that business already has something to show to you. Just like music. If I was going to make an album and I needed a producer, I would have producers that would show me what they've done. I wouldn't pull some guy out of left field. It would be someone who could show me what they've done. So it's the same thing.
Right.
And, it's just an incredible outlet. And I'm excited I just hope you send me a copy. Honestly.
No, you have to buy your own copy.
I was trying to cut a deal with you, man. And she's
he's got a
monkey wrench in my whole game.
No, it's like us. We have to have the numbers. He's got to have the numbers.
I'll play guitar for free.
I'll send you guys a signed author's copy of Checkout Time, but you got to promise that you'll buy it for $3 in the Kindle, so that when you do your review, it's a actual purchase review.
I will do
that's the deal.
We will do whatever you ask. Honestly, however you want us to do it, we will do it.
But now I want to ask you something else.
Sure.
Because you have a lot of different hobbies, like singing opera and
I was waiting for that.
And really,
well, I did a lot of community theater.
Okay.
Did you ever sing Asshole Mio?
I actually don't know a solo mio.
Eddie.
Catalunya, which is from The Barber of Seville. La Catalunya en venticello. But I also sing
so nice.
So you have serious
ballads and stuff like that. It's been fun. I don't do much of the community theater anymore, but I still like to sing, and I sing on events like that. Yeah. So.
But it says that you've done a movie and commercials. Have you done that?
I don't think it says I've done movies. I wish I'd done movies.
Okay. Have you done commercials?
I've done television interviews.
Okay.
Things like that, but I haven't done a actual commercial.
No. Okay.
That's an interesting business, to be honest with you.
Consumer writing, certainly when I was doing technical writing, handbook, website content, and stuff like that. When I was with one company, I managed a bioterrorism website.
No way.
Yeah, so that was perfect.
That's insane.
And I understand your dog Alfie is your wife.
Yeah, Alfie unfortunately passed away. Just 8 months ago, the 28th. So we're still missing him, but now we've got a new dog, a big 85-pound Labradoodle.
They're nice. They're nice.
He's sleeping here next to me. I'll see if I can.
Yeah, no, they're really nice.
I love Labradoodle. Thank God. I have a 12-pound King Charles Spaniel.
Okay.
And she's basically my daughter. She's a child.
Yeah.
So what was Alfie? What type of dog was Alfie?
Alfie was a mixture. They called it a chiffon, which was half Brussels Griffon and half Shih Tzu.
Oh, really?
And
oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, he was a cute dog. He was my pal. Lived to be 15, so it was a good run. But
yeah, that is good.
Yes.
He got a pancreatic problem in September of last year. Put down. Yeah.
That's a downside. I have tons of animals and like basically a farm. Because that's just the way I am. I have to have them. But eventually they go. It's tough. It's super, super tough.
But they are members of the family, really. It's
yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Just the dog doesn't understand.
They become your children. I mean, that's how much you love them.
That was your first love, correct? Was being a vet.
Yeah, I mean, I had a lot of first loves. Like I said, I loved reading. I loved science.
Right.
Loved animals. And so that's basically been my first part of my career anyway, was
right.
Animal.
That's a serious commitment. I mean, to get to that level, It's tough, but I understand what you said about the euthanasia and euthanizing. And I personally couldn't do that either. Like, I love the profession. I respect it and thank God for him because I have a bunch of animals. But
it's very difficult.
To put them down, I would not be able to do that.
I had a golden.
It would ruin me.
I had a golden retriever, and I had her 17 years, and she had a great life. She had a great life. She was a wonderful dog. She was my baby. But in the end, I couldn't go. My daughter took. Yeah. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it.
The way you have to think about it is it's a final kindness you can do.
Mm-hmm. No, I understood it was time. I mean, she couldn't even eat anymore. But I have to say that dog was so wonderful that as sick as she was, she'd always let us know that she had to go out. We'd have to help her.
Yeah.
Pick her up, bring her out. Excuse me.
But yeah,
and bring her back in.
Job, that and so much of what you do has a life and death component to it, like doing surgeries and things like that.
Yeah,
and it's rather stressful. Plus,
it is. Oh my God, I cried and cried.
And also, too, the veterinarian profession. I mean, you don't have your traditional insurance. It's mostly pay to play, and people don't have money. And as a vet, a lot of people that I know have to do it pro bono because these people don't have the money, and these animals need to be taken care of, whether it be spayed or neutered or euthanized, whatever.
Well,
it's very tough.
I worked for about a year and a half when I was working in Detroit area. I was what they call a relief vet.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking of going back to school in public health, and you basically you don't work for any one practice. You work for any practice has somebody sick, or a guy wants to take 2 weeks to go skiing or whatever.
Right.
So you're filling.
And one of them was a farm practice. Basically, it wasn't. I won't say it was a farm practice. It was rural. It was veterinary medicine, dogs and cats, but it was rural. And people would come in with statements like, I've got $20, doc. What can you do?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you learn to be kind of a quick diagnostician. What can I do without a lot of testing? And what are you get very good at rule outs, they call them. What could it be based on what I'm seeing? But again, you're guessing, and there's a lot of stress associated with that. It's because
and there's also responsibility. People, they hold you responsible if God forbid something went wrong. Like it's hard. It's tough. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of animals out there, whether it be on a farm or just domestic, and that are not taken care of well, and it becomes a labor of love. for most vets that I've known and seen. You know, they do a majority of what they do pro bono.
Well, good for them, because
You
I don't
know.
know any of that do.
Just out of you know, good faith for the animals.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, yeah, there's a certain amount of that. Like you say, though, it's to stay in business, you can't really do that.
No, that's
No,
just it.
no.
You can't. You
It's,
can't. It's just like,
Definitely not.
you know,
and that's another
lawyers aren't gonna, you know, go to court for you all the time pro bono. They'll do one pro bono case every 6 months or
Yeah,
something.
and that's another part of the stress of the job is you want to do things and you're constricted,
Mhm.
And you can't.
and that's why I went off to become a skin doctor. I mean, a disease tech. Well, actually,
I don't mention animals.
there's a little scene in Checkout Time. One of my main character, Thomas Thomasinski, or as they call him, Tom Tom.
Tom.
He first meets the FBI agent Sally Butterworth in a bar, and he says that he's gone into public health work. He's an epidemiologist, and she goes, "Oh, what?" Because that's how a lot of people say.
That's funny. Well, listen, John.
I'm looking forward to the signed copy because I want to read this. I mean, I'm excited. I love it. I love the concept. I love the ideas,
do too.
and I think it's going to be a great story.
You send me, like I said, you send me an email with an address.
Yes.
Okay.
I'll send you one. At least what do you want? Project Suicide or Checkout Time?
Okay.
I want checkout time.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll send you Checkout Time, a signed copy, and
Yes.
you just have to promise to purchase the Kindle one for $3.
Okay.
And that way, when you do your review, and that's another thing I always like to tell people. I hope they read the book and like it.
Mm-hmm.
But please give a review.
Give a review on Amazon. It's very important.
Very important.
Then people know.
Yes.
All right. Well, you have my word.
Okay.
So, John, it's
Deal.
been a pleasure having you on. You're such an interesting man, and
Pleasure's mine.
Absolutely.
we look forward to not only reading the books that you've already written, but the sequels. And I'm really gonna push a little bit, you know, when
absolutely.
we advertise this, push a little bit for you to have these made into some kind of a movie, a sequel, or something.
Yes.
Put in for a finder's fee if anything happens.
Okay, cool. We got that on. Hey, we got that from
You
the
get a
listeners now.
Longhorn discount card for $50. Hey, listen, it doesn't matter as long as it gets done.
Exactly.
I mean, that would be fantastic.
It would.
Well,
I'm going to say goodbye now, and I'm going to say thank you again, and to our audience. I know you're going to love watching and listening to John and everything he has to talk about. And I'm sure you're going to be very interested in going out to get his books too. And if you would go on funnyminds.com, you will see that we have a store and we sell silly things that have funny minds on it, like my shirt. And we also have 2 organizations that we deal with, and that is Women's Breast Cancer and St. Jude's Children's Hospital, and the big purple button. So if you're kind enough to donate to those organizations, we'd be very happy.
And this is John Bukowski.
Yes, John Bukowski.
A fellow Pola.
So I say.
Are you a Polak?
My dad spoke perfect Polish. He learned it was kind of all language.
My name was Lewinsky.
None of us kids learned it.
It was.
Was.
All right, John, I'm going to say goodbye to
Sean.
everybody, and be happy, be healthy, be wise, smile, and don't forget to laugh, because laughter is the best medicine. Bye-bye now.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.